Coming at you from Scratcher Wolf Studio. It's that time again to rage across the internet. It's your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. As always, I'm your host, Porter. Sitting to my right this time. I know.
It's nobody.
No, it's to my right. He's sitting to my right. All the way from Texas. It is the one and only CJ.
Howdy, y'all.
And they call her Drinkenstein. To my left, the one and only M.
Hello, hello.
I was gonna
Cheers.
I was going to call CJ Rockula, but I didn't have like a... Daniel Tyson is on assignment. So
This is true.
yeah. So how we doing today?
Oh, doing good. Got done with
Pretty
postmortem, and that was a lot of fun.
We just finished January's postmortem,
Wow.
right? So
But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. I liked it. Reading the parts and all that.
yeah, it was a good one, definitely. Our dear backers have already had that. They've had that for a bit now, I think, a week or two.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys have enjoyed that. We hope to have read some awesome feedback about that in the postmortem room in the Discord. So thank you
If
in
not-
advance. And if not, yeah.
Porter knows how to get in contact with you.
You make me do it now.
No, I mean, you're the one with all access to all the Ko-Fi and everything. You know, the names and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
Emails.
That's true.
Some people's address thanks to this job.
I'm not making that threat. I didn't do it. That was him.
That was him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. So if this is your first time, that was probably weird for you.
And CJ is not a serial killer, I think.
I mean, if he is, he's just really good at hiding it.
This is true.
Yeah, if this is your first time, that might have been strange for you. It's all going to be okay. This is the show where we talk about all aspects of Werewolf the Apocalypse and storyteller and player alike for all different levels. We got you covered. We're going to help share and hopefully enhance your love for Werewolf the Apocalypse. If this is not your first time, you know all of that already, and you're probably sick of hearing it, but it's good to have you back.
It's always good to have the familiar faces around the Discord and the ones who listen to all this stuff who come in talking about how much they like these moments of us just having fun with it.
Well, I mean, that's what we do. And also, if you can have fun talking about a fucking game where you're aware, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
We're not robots. We have good times.
Definitely not an AI co-host. Oh God, we should have
This
done
is
that for Danny.
correct. This is correct. I am not artificial intelligence. In fact, I am a human, and I do have emotions and experiences.
Real human emotion.
Real human emotion. This is true, Porter. Thank you.
No problem, Siri.
What is it that you need? How can I be of assistance?
Oh, shit. Well, I think we could start with This Week in Bullshit.
I think so.
It's a little segment that we do where we just talk about whatever we want to for a while.
Get all the tangents out early to have some fun.
Which is funny, because we just got off that postmortem. So I think we're...
I mean, that one was a little more on the ball than it normally is, though.
No, that's true.
It was a bit longer, so, we were kind of on the nose with it.
Right. And again, we read the parts like the radio play, like we haven't done that in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was fun. Postmortems, of course, if those of you who are unaware, is a backer reward. If you head over to our Ko-Fi, that's ko-fi.com/rageacrosstheinternet. You can see what we have to offer there. It's a way you can donate if you like what we do, you want to support us. We have several tiers, and the Postmortem series is one of our backer rewards. It's a lot of us go over some of my old scripts. We read out the story. We talk about the inner workings, the minutia of it, all in hope to not only inspire you, but to cover problems you might have had coming up or you might run into coming up. It's like a full-on behind the scenes, and that series is actually winding down. That should be the last year of it. So But the bundles of previous ones are on sale on the Ko-Fi as well.
So if you have missed out, there's your chance to listen into what...
Right, we're actually a couple...
All the great ideas.
We're actually a couple behind. I think Shadows and Tall Trees and Seasons of Wither are not on there.
Get on it.
I know.
Something for people to look forward to.
Well, I want to clip those a little bit. Some of those intros.
Fair.
You know, they keep the original backers something specifically for them. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's that. And this is This Week in Bullshit. So I think...
I've got a couple things that I've recently discovered / been delving into with the video game space.
Superb.
Oh?
Yeah. And a little bit of a personal discovery. I have discovered I have a bit of an addictive personality thanks to some of these games. Especially games that make you say, like, one more turn or one more day. And then you realize you've lost 2 extra hours that you were originally planning.
Yep. I've done the same thing.
Like, one of the big ones is Stardew Valley. Whenever I was first playing that a lot, I would get into moments where it's just like, you know, a day in Stardew is like, what, 10, 15 minutes? That's
20 minutes with no pauses.
Okay, yeah. So 20 minutes. That's a lot of time.
6 a.m. to 2 a.m., 20 minutes, no pausing.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a lot of time. You can get stuff done. You can get started on stuff, and then you can be like, okay, I'm going to start planning for the next day, figuring out what I'm going to do. But then, you know, if you
I planned it. Let's go and do this again.
Yeah, because if you set it down, then you're going to forget about it by the next time you start up. So it's just like, you know, just one more day. And then you realize it's like 1 a.m.
Yep.
Well, recently, some of you on the Discord have seen it, but I found Balatro. And that game has hooked me pretty damn well to where I can say confidently, if you're a person who is bad with deadlines, don't play Balatro. You'll be even worse. If you're bad at holding deadlines, this game will not help you.
And this game
will only make it worse.
This is the poker roguelite, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is a...
Oh my goodness.
It's a weird description, and it's one of those games that it's super easy to describe as, like, it's this poker roguelike, but it makes no goddamn sense until you start playing it. Because, yeah, you play multiple hands of poker, you get, like, 3 or 4 actual hands you can play, you get the whole 52-card deck, and you're just trying to make poker hands. The better the hand, the more you score. Each round, you want to hit a certain score, and then you move on to the next. If you don't, you fail, you start over. You go through a total of 24 rounds, and if you can do that, congratulations, you've won the run. Now you can go into an endless mode or start a new one.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yep, not sponsored at all. I doubt the dude's an indie dev who does this, so I doubt he would do any sponsorship, but I'd definitely be down for it. But yeah, it's super simple. What gets complicated is it does the roguelike thing of, you know, every run, you unlock something new. New little modifiers get added, like in the form of the jokers. In the normal run, you can have up to 5 jokers in your deck, and they each do something different. There's 150 of them that you can unlock as you go through and acquire. Some of them will make cards worth more, some of them will make your score go up faster, and then some of them just do weird things. It's a weird-ass game that I fully recommend if you want to lose a good chunk of your life. It is addictive, and it's got the CJ seal of approval. Just know you're going to be very bad with deadlines for a little while.
Yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned Stardew a minute ago. I've been working on my Stardew farm recently. You probably noticed me playing it if you're on the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm getting closer to 100%ing this particular farm. So that's exciting.
Like doing 100% of the full game on this farm? Or
like perfection rating. So
okay.
Yeah, there's like a perfection tracker. And so I'm working towards perfection. I'm missing, I need to kill some of the dinosaurs in Skull Cavern. I need to ship 1 more item, and I need to buy the clock, and then I've got perfection. So I'm getting close.
As somebody who's played Stardew, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. I cannot do that.
Yep. I'm halfway to being able to purchase the clock, but I'm not really saving up for it because I'm also like upgrading a whole bunch of buildings and things so that I can, get more kegs online so that I can actually just really, really push for it at the end there.
Oh, shit, I feel like the boring one now.
Yeah.
I mean, the only game that I've been doing, because I'm trying to stick to my schedule, right? Ever since we made the announcement for BTA. Yep. And I didn't count it for December because that was Christmas, right? And it's fucking just give me the week or two.
It's the holiday.
Yeah, you got to get through the holiday. But I have this schedule that I worked out to make sure this all gets done. And I've been trying like hell to keep with it. And it hasn't been working out too great. But I'm trying, right? And then Marvel Rivals happened.
Yeah. Yes, and we've been playing a lot of that.
Yeah, we all know about that.
On the server.
That's it's the new game team game. And it ain't going anywhere.
No, it is not.
Right? It hits all the check marks, right? Because we've got our crossplay. Mm-hmm. We can play 6v6, so we can get a maximum amount of people. Yeah, it's free. I mean, that's a huge one. But also player count matters too.
Oh, yeah.
We can get up to 12 people playing at the same time.
And the spectator lobby in those custom games allows for a shit ton of people too. So you can if we have more than 12, you can have someone spectating in that lobby and swap out.
Yep.
So it hits all the check marks and also all the trash talk. It's a little rowdier than usual.
Yep.
But it is definitely a lot of fun. If you catch us on our Wednesday game nights, it's probably going to be Marvel Rivals. Oh, it's free.
Yeah,
it's
just
crossplay.
Is.
If you want to join in, do it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because our Wednesday night, that's for everybody. But our backer hangout game, the backer game team, it's part of the, it's a reward. We're there more than that.
Yeah. At least 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah, and just for a few hours, sure. But it's nice to unwind and have that for the day. But that's kind of, but that's my point, is that's really kind of the only gaming I've had time for. Because I'm trying to stick on this schedule to get shit done.
Which, hey, it's their first time, trying something like this in, a serious effort to put it out at some point.
Right. I wanna hit that deadline. So, so it's largely been Marvel Rivals. Although, I am curious. I haven't been able to do it. I'm probably not going to be able to do it. I don't see myself crayoling that in. But the new Peter Pan horror movie that just recently came out.
Oh, yeah? I remember I've looked up the name. I can't fucking remember it now.
Yeah, it's something like Peter Pan and the Horrible Fate or some shit. I don't know. But Peter Pan is public domain now.
Yep.
Like Steamboat Willie and Winnie the Pooh. And so there is now, it came out last week before?
I think week before.
Yeah.
I think.
Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
There we go. I knew it sounded dumb.
Yep.
But I want to see this shit. I'm into it.
I will say that is actually something I've been loving seeing about the recent era. Is just, hey, it's the era of public domain. All of these untouchable franchises are being given to everyone now.
Right? And how does it get played with? How are you going to do it? And it's not like there hasn't been adaptations or things based on Peter Pan, the mythology before. Yeah. I mean, Christ, look at the Lost Boys. Why do you think it's called that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
this way they can actually say Peter Pan if they want to. They don't have to say oh, this is Peter Pan.
Peter Pan? That's son of a bitch. It's son of a bitch.
Yeah, Peter Pan.
You don't have to tiptoe around certain topics because of lawsuits. No, you can just come out and say it now. You can be creative.
Right?
Without the extra restriction.
I'm into it. I want
Not Ever Island.
Also, and I don't know, right? I'm told it's pretty good. I don't know though. But it would probably be the best adaptation of Peter Pan since fucking Hook. I mean, they've done a few over time, right? They've all sucked. So
yeah,
last good one we got was Hook, which, don't get me wrong, was great. They gave us Rufio, right? Dustin Hoffman as Hook. That was the fucking... Bob Hoskins is Smee. I'm not even talking about Robin Williams. I don't care. It's the least interesting part of that cast as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's Robin Williams. Everybody knows Robin Williams.
Right. There's actually an awesome story floating around about what a great guy Bob Hoskins is.
Oh?
Apparently that opening scene, like all that huge take with the pirates and him moving the hook and all that. Mm-hmm. Apparently that shoot that day was fucking brutal and miserable and took all day, and so he took all the extras out for drinks afterwards.
Okay.
It's just like Bob Hoskins decided that. That's fucking awesome.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was him specifically, but I know, like, there's a lot of stories from, like, Hook that I remember of, like, you have all the child actors for the Lost Boys, and some of them just being absolutely miserable. And, like, all of the adults in the cast, like, even Captain Hook, are doing their best to just let these kids be kids and have a good time. Like, that movie's got a lot of good stories out of it.
Which is great. You know, if you haven't seen Hook, go watch Hook. It's kind of a kid's movie. That's fine. So's the Goonies.
Yeah.
Rufio's the shit, so... Who, by the way, grew up to voice Zuko.
Yeah.
And that's just nice to know.
Yeah. Nice voice actor.
Right?
Yeah, whenever I first learned that fact, it was hard not to picture Rufio anytime Zuko showed up on screen for a little bit. Or anytime he just talked.
I mean, it's true.
Man, such a good TV show.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's a masterclass in characterization.
So good.
Mm-hmm. And it shows you why, it's such a good masterclass. It shows you how easily you can fuck it up, thanks to all of the adaptations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate an adaptation. Yeah, if you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, the real one, the animated.
The cartoon.
Well, he's animated, and Mickey Mouse is a cartoon.
Same thing as a cartoon.
Right, but like there's different, and like Tom and Jerry is a cartoon.
Yeah, but also Avatar: The Last Airbender has some like great cartoon qualities too. I mean, not only is it animated, but it also has like a lot of cartoonish like moments in it that really like highlight some different parts.
I mean, it does have some comedy in it, certainly, and yes, there are also cartoon. But like you talk about cartoon, it's like Bugs Bunny. You know, like, I'm going to hit you with the pie in the face.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, you don't
my cabbages.
Sure.
Cabbages.
Yeah.
Cartoon in a positive sense, not a negative sense, Porter.
That's fair, but, if we're talking to people who don't know. Right?
Why? Yeah. I hope everybody knows.
Like you're making that assumption.
It's good.
Yeah. That's why we're making the recommendation.
2025. I hope everybody knows.
Well, maybe people just watched M. Night Shyamalan's movie and then hated themselves for a long time. Could you imagine?
Sorry, did you say something?
There's a sick thought. Could you imagine that there's statistically, this has to be true, that there's someone out there who only knows Avatar through the lens of M. Night Shyamalan? There is someone whose full frame of reference of Dragon Ball Z is the live-action movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I almost spit my drink out.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. That was great.
I mean, I would say the same thing about the Mario Brothers, but no, Mario's everywhere.
Well, and then they did the CG one later, too. So
yeah.
Dennis Hopper with that fucking haircut. Yeah, it's Bowser. Oh, my God.
Or the little shrunken head dinosaurs for the Goombas.
Oh, it's the worst. How dare they?
So I guess fairly late this week in bullshit then, huh?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty light one. I know, and again, I don't have one this week because this month has been just crazy. But I know I'm gonna do some recommendations, some movie recommendations. I think once every show for this week in bullshit, I'm gonna drop something new for a TV show or a movie. Just for people out there, be it for Inspirato or just for personal enjoyment or whatever. It's just something I'm going to want to do. So that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I got nothing. It's been a long week. Off of other
fine.
Long weeks.
Something for people to look forward to.
Yeah. Hopefully. I could recommend a book for you, Porter.
Oh, I don't know.
One that I know you know, but you know how to do audio.
I do know how to do a book on tape. That's all I'm ever going to call it.
And this is a book that you pointed me in the direction to. Nosferatu.
Yes.
NOS42. It is... I'm not going to try and describe it because it's one of those books that, like... I could try and describe it, but I'm going to have to, like, preface multiple parts of it and start going into an explanation. It's honestly good if you go in blind, but I will say the two main villains of that book, one of them is written in such a way to make them the most creepy and unnerving character possible. And it fits so well for the villain. Like, it's a good example of how to do some bad guys, and, like, they're not, like, they're doing some horrible stuff, but sometimes it's framed as perfectly normal. Like, if you need some good inspirato for some spirals and how they behave, I think Thing from Nosferatu could really work for one.
And that's by Joe Hill.
Yes, it is. Who also wrote Lock and Key, the comic series, which was adapted into a Netflix show, which you shouldn't watch. But
and also a book called Heart-Shaped Box, which is so good. You should also read that one if you would like to. Yeah, if you like to read some messed up things and some scary ghost stuff, that's the one for you.
So look at that. There's 3 recommendations right there. And I'll just end that with Scissors for the Drifter. So that's going to be This Week in Bullshit this week. We'll be rowdier, more all over the place later. It was a big postmortem, you guys, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I don't normally, we're like more out of sorts after a postmortem, but woof. Let's get into the show. What do you guys say?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Well, what we have is kind of a lighter day for us, so hooray. We're doing A Tale of Two Wolves again. Tale of Two Wolves.
Since we don't have Danny to MC.
Well,
I'm the MC today.
MC.
M is the MC.
McM.
I see what you did there.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, M's gonna take over MC duties today. So she's gonna be running the show.
Get that, Jay?
Oh no. What have I done to us all?
Brain rot.
All right. So this is your first one, because it was brought to my attention that not everyone is quite aware of what the Two Wolves series is. Correct. We take submissions from you guys over on our Discord. And what it is it's a story prompt. The original intent, the original naming from it came from the story prompts come in. I get them blind. They're given, M's going to present them. I've never heard them before. And I would present a way to run it from an experienced, like the easy version and the harder version, I guess, how to turn that into a thing. And then so over the years, and I've been able to say that, it's become maybe less that, and the Two Wolves has become the different perspectives of different storytellers that are here. Sometimes we call it a Three Wolves, sometimes a Four, whatever. We call it the Tale of Two Wolves. So this is our latest installment, and take it away.
All right. So our first suggestion this evening comes from Cole, and here we are.
Which Cole? Is that Cola Classic, or is that new Cole?
Cola Classic.
All right.
Yes. The Cole I ran a game with. Oh, not ran a game with, but played a game with.
No, that's fair.
Pretty early on to joining the server.
Just we now have 2 Coles, so we have Cole Classic and Diet Cola.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, hello, Cola Classic. Here's yours. So, Rattlesnake, capital R, mind you, reaches out to the pack through a dream vision and has a mission for them. But they cannot inform the elders, or else their cairn is destined to fall to the worm.
Okay.
Bit more of an elusive one to start off with.
Yeah, what do you do with that?
Yeah, what's the mission? What's going on here? Why can't they inform the elders?
Okay, I've got the start of an idea. So I'm going to start with that answer of why can they not inform the elders? Like, my first initial thought is, one of them's turned traitor, but I'm like, that's a little too much for an elder. Like, you've been in the nation that long. why turn traitor now unless it's been a really long con? But then I had the idea of a sort of conflict of interest. Rattlesnake is sending you out on this mission. I'm going to say Rattlesnake is the Cairn totem itself. Like, you're getting a mission from the Cairn spirit. Why is it not giving it to the elders? Well, one of the elders has a son, grandson, whatever you want to say it, who is leading a sept to investigate some stuff that's been going on. Like, let's say the Guardian Pack's recently gone missing, for whatever reason. This rival sept, led by the sept elder's son, has gotten wind of it. Maybe granddad or their dad has, maybe let something slip in a small little communication. And this son being ruthless and wanting to expand their territory because he's only been part of a sept. He doesn't have a cairn himself. Well, maybe he can come in and offer to help dad. Like, hey, clearly, you guys are shorthanded. I understand you're having problems here. Let me and my Geta Fenris friends come and help you take care of this sept. It's the start of like a hostile takeover. The reason we gotta go out here and figure out where the Guardian Pack is, what's happened to them, is so you can come back with that information. So, or bring them back. So when this rival sept comes up offering help, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're right here. And so he can't play up that into work to make this little hostile takeover. Which, if they do take it over, the Cairn as it was is dead. It's now a new people in charge. The old ways are gone. The Get have taken over.
Huh.
So more of that metaphorical death.
Yes. Interesting.
Okay.
Politicking involved. I like it.
I'm going to go a grossly different way with this.
Awesome.
I'm down to hear it.
Is, first of all, the reason this needs to be kept quiet is because this mission involves an ancient place, whether it's a human ruin or something to that effect, something that has been kind of lost. My gut says something like an old Aztec temple, but not an old Aztec temple because I'm already bored. Yeah. But something like akin to that, right? Mm-hmm. And it is the resting place. And maybe here's the thing: is it has recently been discovered. That's what it is. They find these archaeologists, and what they don't realize is there are some bones that are of relevance. Bones of something with power down there. The thing of it is, though, is that thing was a Naga. This is why Rattlesnake is involved, and Rattlesnake is demanding silence so that the Naga, once they get involved, don't have to murder every motherfucker in that cairn.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And it's one of those things of like, they gotta either keep the archaeologists from uncovering it till the Naga can come in and clean it up, or make sure those bones are somewhere else for the Naga to pick up.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, it earns them a free pass. Mm-hmm. A one-time free pass. Because obviously, if they see the Naga, they ain't coming out of that. But exceptions are made.
Yeah, it's like you get the handoff and one more.
Right.
Like, it doesn't even have to be explicitly spelled out to them. It's just, they're meeting this figure in silence, like hidden in like a deep shadow for whatever reason. Like, you physically can't see them even if you try. They hold the hands out, take the bones, and just hold up that one. And you get the idea. You have one more. One more what? That's up for you to find out later. Maybe your storyteller dangles that in front of you, or maybe you walk in on something you really shouldn't have.
But you have the one.
Yep.
See, me working Farah in. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Take that.
It happened.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All right. Our next prompt comes from Drake. A previously abandoned cairn has been recently reclaimed. Your pack are to scout the area and begin the process of regaining control in the area. The local town is odd. It seems as if the gauntlet has been thinned and the spirits are exuding unusual amounts of influence on the populace. There is no alarming worm presence, but the area is filled with spirit saplings where no trees stand in the physical world. People are acting strange. What's going on?
This is the town from Footloose. So obviously we're seeing the aftermath of Kevin Bacon restoring freedom to the town.
Okay.
I could do a real one too, but
everybody's dancing again.
Right?
Kevin
Bacon ejaculated confetti so hard that the gauntlet thinned permanently.
Do 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 do.
Okay, take that, John Lithgow. Well, I mean, obviously, being in the vicinity of an a Cairn would lower the gauntlet, but that's a little too simple. That's too easy. I mean, like you would expect it. That's too easy.
Perhaps something with the worm? Not the worm, sorry, the wild?
I think something with the Black Furies.
Ooh, Black Furies.
I think this town, and we didn't get the details on it per se, so it's going to be a very remote town. Very remote, small town. And a couple Furies, I'm not sure the scale, but nothing overly large scale, have been experimenting with methods to help reclaim the wild places. Perhaps working with the Red Talons a little.
Yeah.
And are developing a method to whittle down the gauntlet, again with the hopes of maybe dissolving it entirely, which is just a fool's fucking errand. But that's kind of the point, is we get to see the side effect of trying to merge the spirit world and the physical realm in this day and age. Perhaps this is, I'm trying to think of how it would be done, either through ritual. I mean, ritual makes the most sense. But what if there were more practical means and they had somehow turned the populace into unwitting participants, perhaps through an additive in the water designed to deworm them. That's
Worm with a Y.
Deworm with a Y.
Yeah, shit. I mean, I'm grasping at straws here, but I'm thinking something along those lines of a Black Fury plot to intentionally do this, and the problem is they underestimated the damage that spirits can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we fall into that trap of the wild is our buddy, and the wild is not our buddy, right? It's not fully there yet, but I'm in the vicinity.
Maybe you come at it for a second pass after my idea?
Yeah, maybe. What do you got, Siege?
Okay. And real quick with the prompt, it was saying the gauntlet is extremely thin or non-existent here.
The gauntlet seems to have been thinned, and the spirits are exuding unusual amounts of influence on the populace.
Okay. Because one of my first ideas, I'm going to go back to the Wild West for just a little bit, and the whole theme of like the broken lands and everything, places where the gauntlet has been rend down to almost non-existence.
All right.
This cairn's nearby originally. This is Kin Town from this era. This broken lands happened at some point. It wiped out the Garu, the cairn went dormant, but it left the Kin alone. This happens all over the course of a single night. Not everybody in town was, fully in on everything, fully in the nation, because you want to keep that little bit of distance, so if somebody does come across it, it's just, it's a small settlement, it's a homestead, who knows?
Yeah.
It's not immediately oh, hey, this is Kin Town. So that little degree of, separation, but now that the Garu are just gone, the cairn's dormant, years go by. This is a little small town that has been forgotten. It's been slowly built up, but in a much lower level of tech, barely any tech at all that they could get away with that wasn't available in the Wild West. So it looks like you're almost going to a Wild West reenactment. These are people who are still hand spinning their own clothes. everything's running off candles if it's needing light, if not like small little steam engine sort of things.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, when the players are investigating this place, make it feel like Jonestown. Because as these kids have grown up with these stories, there's that cultural drift over time. They knew the stories of the Garu. They knew about Gaia. One or two of them, took prominence, started leading it now that the Garu aren't around to advise them, to direct them. And this whole town has slowly drifted into more of a, we play with worm cults all the time, right? Well, what if we make this a Gaian cult? Ultimately, it's a good idea. It's a good thing to be worshipping Gaia. But at some point down the line, somebody in this group was charismatic enough to take charge, but lost the plot. So now you're dealing with a lot of these humans who know about things they shouldn't know about, even if they don't actually know it. One or two of them have gnosis, maybe, and can interact with the spirits that are here, and these are the people who are leading the cults. But they don't have the frame of reference that you would have if you had the Garu to guide you constantly. So it's this, once again, playing up the Jonestown angle. And to put more of a ticking timer on it, what happens when, a random hiker stumbles across this place and then goes back to tell stories when he gets back to civilization?
Interesting.
After Jonestown happened, the government takes cults kind of seriously if they get up to a certain size.
Right.
So you might be dealing with more than just, the regular baddies that come about when you try to reawaken a cairn. And who knows if the kin are even going to be welcoming now that the Garu are back. And it goes against the doctrine that they've developed.
It's interesting. I like it.
That's pretty good, man. I don't think you got me on this one. Which is not, the great answer. No, I do. I want to stand by my idea with the, this is the result of, and then the spiritual influence on. And here we go, is what if, does piggyback off you a bit, but what if some of the spirits in question include the angry dead?
Okay.
Or even an ancestor spirit who is going to, again, either work his will on the populace, or their will, as the case may be, or try for outright possession.
Okay.
To get a second chance at things.
Huh.
And that could be really interesting, especially if it's the outright possession, because I'm assuming, if an ancestor spirit possesses one of these gnosis possessing kinfolk, in this case, he's going to have all the abilities of the kinfolk.
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah. So I could imagine that driving a Garu a little bit mad if he wasn't already. Of being trapped in this body, having to try to work his will, but not having all of his tools at his disposal.
Well, and there's a thought too, though, right? Because possessing a body doesn't mean it doesn't turn it into your body.
Yeah.
So if we go with something like, yes, there's spiritual influence, the gauntlet's super thin, but as a result of this, not planned, but as a result of this, a side effect, the spirits of some of the dead, maybe through, a town event a historic event in the town, a big fire or an explosion at, the factory or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Cause a mass casualty kind of thing. And then because the legends never died, and people never stop fucking talking about it, the spirits are still wandering around, and they use that thin gauntlet as an excuse, as a way through where it shouldn't work with this. But now they're back and they're going to try to continue their lives or live their lives or get revenge. But now you have them in the bodies of these people that obviously are not them, and is causing a dissonance between the actual person and the spirit trying to take over. Which could lead to all sorts of foolishness in terms of the townsfolk and what they're doing.
And each other's perceptions on what's happening as well.
See?
Some superstitions. Some people that clearly know what's going on, but they sound super superstitious to other people who, think it's just a tall tale.
What's it called? I could imagine, somebody who's getting possessed, it's the equivalent, like, they start talking in tongues almost just because the possessed spirit doesn't know the modern English or never knew a specific language, like it was a lupus or something, whatever.
Yeah, it'd be all like
but I can
Morgan.
imagine, yeah. But I could imagine that leading to the town, like, holding a midsummer, like the movie Midsummer style festival for, we have to cleanse this person.
Gonna be more like the Wicker Man.
Yeah, that too.
Cool.
But, your classic cult sacrifice / weird fucked up ritual.
I just, because of the bees in the bear costume.
Yeah. There's a lot of places you could take this. A lot of interesting places, I'd say. I don't think this could be this would be a good for, like, a self-contained chronicle, I think.
Yeah, could be pretty good. I like the idea.
Thank you, Drake.
Yeah, thank you, Drake. Our next suggestion comes from Spoons. It's a little bit lighter than our last one. The pack must participate in a Black Dog Games RPG LARP to root out a particularly dangerous Bane/Fomori.
That could be... I mean, that's the story, right? There's not much we can really do with that. It's because it's all right there, right?
Yeah. Like, that's enough to start building a story.
Yeah.
We could flesh it out a little bit more.
I mean,
what kind of Bane or Fomori do you think it might be? That they have to participate in a LARP to root it out?
Well, I think you want to do, something Enticer-esque. Not sexually, but in terms of the manipulation court,
yeah.
And then you have, like this is a story. This is a single story.
Yeah.
At best, maybe two-parter. And the appeal here is this is one of these Supernatural episodes. Right? Because Supernatural was a great show for 5 years, and it ended. And then it was a show of wildly varying quality for another decade, right? But you could usually count on a couple good episodes a season that you're just going to hold on to. Like, they'll get wacky, Like, here's the one where they get zapped into TV World. It's just basically the plot of Stay Tuned. But here it is, right? And you're having fun with it in a good time. And I think this is kind of what that is you're going to lean into the surreal quality of werewolves pretending to be werewolves, or humans, right? Humans role-playing werewolves who are LARPing being werewolves.
Kind of a funny, mind-trippy kind of...
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Which I do have a slight twist if we wanted to bring it on here. Like the Sept, you're being put on this mission to go hunt down a Bane or Fomori. I'm going to make it a little different. I'm going to bring in a changeling. That's where the magic's coming from. That's what's keeping these people around. That's why it's been so difficult to find what's causing this. Like, maybe kin are going missing because of this. Like, they're going in to do this LARP or whatever, or to get drawn into this event. And they're just not going home.
Are you suggesting that if they die in the game, they die for real?
No, I'm just saying you physically can't leave. The game's not over till the game master says it is.
Oh, I see.
And this is where I could imagine for me, having the werewolves play werewolves, it's funny, it's interesting. I would much rather see the weird culture shock of the werewolves trying to play a vampire LARP. Here you go. You get to have fun. You get to be Count Dracula while everybody else is being a serious vampire.
Oh, Lord.
But having to play around with some of the rules of vampire. Because once you're in the game, you gotta obey the game's rules. You gotta play around until you can get close enough to the game master to take him out.
Interesting.
I like it. That actually reminds me a little bit of, what was it, Rick and Morty season 3?
I don't know.
in the opener of that, when Rick has the little brain transfer device thing, and he keeps transferring himself into the enemy aliens.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, oh, look at me, I'm just a dumbass bug. Oh, I'm just so stupid. So I could see the Garu playing a vampire. Oh, look at me, I'm just a stupid ass Dracula. Oh, 1, 2, 3, strike, you're out. Oh, look at me, I'm afraid of guns. Right? Kind of like we do in the Discord on the regular.
Yes.
So
and at the same time, like, and yeah, if you got players who know vampire, this is where you could actually weave in some of, like, once again, the game master's making the game kinda real. Hey, congratulations, you're a werewolf. You're playing as the Black Dog version of Adventure. You got access to a couple little dominate powers for a little while. Have fun.
Could also do, like was it the Darkest Dungeon kind of thing? To where, and maybe more literal, to where the players are kind of becoming their character, or, losing their minds and thinking they're their character. One or the other, right? But enough to where we kind of have to take this seriously. But we're not taking this seriously.
Like, there's that certain level of, you gotta take it seriously, you gotta play the game, but you can't get lost in the sauce.
I like it.
We got further with that than I thought we would, frankly.
Yeah.
That was kind of already done for us.
I mean, you really pulled it out there. Nice. Thank you, Spoons, for the fun idea.
Spoons.
All right, next one comes from Charo. Hope I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Newest member of our...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Newest Ko-Fi member, you said.
Yep.
A group of cubs go through their rites of passage. After returning, they say that none of the 12 tribal totems chose them. Instead, they were chosen by a different totem and claim that a new tribe has been created.
Interesting.
A lot going on there.
There is, and there's a lot of options to play with, right?
There's so many options. Whenever I was typing these out, I was like, oh man, the number of things that could be going on here.
That's a nice setup.
Yeah.
But there is the little caution of, you probably don't want to actually create a new tribe.
The thing in my brain here is, what's the trickery?
Sasquatch.
Okay.
Sasquatch? All right.
Yeah. No, you're laughing, but it's
No, I know I think I know where you're going here.
Yeah, it's Sasquatch who has, and Sasquatch is not okay. All right, I want to be clear on this. It's going to give the appearance that Sasquatch is okay, and has returned and wants to reclaim, like Wendigo has stolen all of Sasquatch's children. Well, then fine. Yeah. I'm going to get my own kids from now on. I'm back, and we're doing this, and we're going to restore the Squatches. The Woods Walkers, whatever the fuck they were called before they were Wendigo, right? We're going to restore this ancient lost tribe to prominence, to glory. But
so theoretically, this is happening within a Wendigo sept.
Could be, yeah, theoretically.
All right.
What's actually happening?
Okay.
Is Sasquatch is very the fuck much dead. That's how Wendigo happened. So this is absolutely a trick. This might have been Whippoorwill's idea, frankly, or one of the Melgin and Karna, perhaps something in Whippoorwill's brood. But this is obviously a scam set to pull these guys, not to the Black Spiral dancers. So fake Sasquatch, and it is fake because Sasquatch is dead. So this is a corpse being puppeted around Weekend at Bernie's style, so to speak, in a spiritual sense. This is in all in service of creating a new tribe of fallen Garu.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Like they're not registering with sense worm and shit because they're not worm tainted yet. But the whole point is to put all these eggs in the basket and then put the basket in the toxic waste.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All under the guise of restoring something lost.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, trying to build, Gaia's warriors here with a new tribe.
Right, no, exactly. They're going to eat that shit up.
Like, heck yeah, another totem. Nope.
Meanwhile, Wendigo's all pissy about it because he's like, this doesn't add up. And everyone's like, well, that's just how Wendigo is. Fuck it. Don't listen to him. That's just Tuesday for this guy. Fuck him.
Okay. Me, it will depend. Like, I've got an idea that depends on the pack makeup. Like, the out of character, like what you chose for your tribe, unless you're giving your ST free reign of this. But I could see this being part of, like, here's the pack coming back, these cubs coming back claiming to be of this new tribe. None of the other totems showed up. This spirit, we'll stick with Sasquatch for right now because the spirit right now in my mind is not so important.
Okay.
Sasquatch has claimed them. They are to be the new tribe. They're to be the planeswalkers or whatever. And everybody's okay with this. Everybody is kumbaya with it. But something doesn't feel right. There's little things different. There's maybe the warder of your sept somebody different by the time you get here, or the name's not quite right. There's, it's just little things. Guard change, names change, people change positions every now and then. That can be explained. But as this goes on, once again, like, here's the Cubs doing stuff that they should be punished for if, like, simple little mistakes. Somebody who's, like, your Whiplash analog, instead of, like, doing the push-ups and everything with Whiplash, instead of, like, taking an ear off to motivate you to do it more, to go harder, he gives you an actual, like, pep talk. He gets down on your level, gives you a pep talk, and is like, you know what, I'm gonna do push-ups with you. It's like this entire time, this is just, things are getting weirder and weirder. Until at the end, they start putting the pieces together. It's like, oh, hey, our rite of passage isn't over. This has been Chimera seeing if you can see through the illusion, see if you can solve the puzzle. This has been the rite of passage the entire time. Can you actually see beyond the lies and deceit to be one of his children?
Interesting.
Huh. A twist I was not expecting.
And this is where I said it would depend on the makeup of your pack.
Yeah.
Or the people running the rite of passage. But I can see this being a interesting little... Because there is the thing of, like, making a new tribe. It sounds like a really great idea to me at times, but there is the little caveats that come with it. But this lets you get away with it. This lets you as an ST, if you want to make the most campiest shit possible for a new tribe. And just have fun with it for a little while and see how long it takes your players to actually notice.
I like that. I can see the dangers in that, but I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Chronicle 4. Have you noticed yet?
And this is where I would keep it as I would keep it as a shorter story. And by the time, like, if they haven't noticed it by a certain point, this is where another spirit could interject of, like, Chimera's like, okay, clearly these aren't mine. None of these kids are mine.
Not for me.
And this is where you can start playing up the different little aspects of, changing the story depending on which totem is in charge of this vision.
Yeah. Definitely an interesting idea.
Or, the simple one of, this is a fuck up and they lied because of the totem that actually showed up for them. Or maybe no totem did show up. And this is a pack of rodent for whatever reason. Like, they fucked up that badly.
Yeah, that would be pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Or maybe it's not the kids. Something wearing their suit.
Where else?
Nagas.
That too. All right. Our next one comes from Winged Beast. A high-ranking Silverfang Ragabash has called a grand moot. Other high-ranking Silverfangs have tasked a pack with finding proof of worm taint or insanity, and will not take "there is no evidence" as an answer. Unbeknownst to the pack, the purpose of the grand moot is the Ragabash's intent to tell the entire nation about the 7-year rule limitation.
Well, you just told us what the twist
Planish.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I I could imagine, like, once again, skipping past it's not actually to tell, like, because, yeah, it's just cutting out that last part of, like, yeah, no, we don't know what the Ragabash Elder, or, yeah, what this high-ranking Ragabash is going to say. We don't know why he's calling the moot. I'm going to set this is going to be a period game. It's going to have to be before a specific date. I don't remember the date exact, but I do remember in the Silverfang Tribe book, I believe it is House Austere Howl. That's the Silverfang house that fell to the worm, if I remember correctly. I know it's one of them. I believe it's Austere Howl. I'm going to say I'm about 75% sure.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go digging through the book right now in case it's the wrong house.
Yeah.
If it's the wrong house, let me know in Discord. Call me out if you want. I don't care. But anyway, I'm going to make it the prelude to that. The elder who's tasked you with investigating this is a member of this house. They are a member of the Austere Howl, and things have been getting out here and there. And he's sending you to potentially be the sacrifice, if needed, to find out, does this enemy elder know? Does he know we're planning the equivalent of, like, the Red Wedding as our outs from the nation? He was getting ready to call a Grand Moot himself to start up this, like, Red Wedding-esque event, and here comes this Ragabash out of nowhere calling it. Is this an actual reason? Is this House Gleaming Eye onto their shenanigans and about to break the story to the rest of the nation? And you're having to play with that paranoia of this elder, sending you out to gather this information, totally look for a reason for me to say this guy is out of his goddamn mind. While the pack's having to deal with, is our elder in his right mind? / is he sending us out for a good reason, or are we accidentally being pawns, or unknowingly being pawns in a grander scheme? Could play a little bit of Game of Thrones, but werewolf.
I like Game of Thrones.
It's got dragons.
It hath dragons and boobies and sword fights. That's the sound fire makes when the dragon breathes fire.
What did they say to summon the fire again? Dracarys.
Yeah, that's right. She says, I don't usually pay attention to what she says. I'm busy watching her. But yeah, she says Dracarys. And then
where is he? Oh, good.
Excellent. That's what we do here.
Excellent, yeah. All right, this next one comes from Lord Thom. Am I saying that right, guys?
We believe so.
Cool.
He hasn't corrected us.
Right?
Cool.
Like, I see the H, I want to respect the H and pronounce it.
Yeah, right? Or it could be Lord Tom.
Right, it could be, but I think it's Lord Thom.
I don't know.
Like
Anyways.
Game of Thrones.
My lord. In a game set prior to 1999, potentially just before / after the Red Star begins to make its presence, if you're using that. The pack is traveling through the middle of the US and keeps hearing fire and brimstone broadcasts on AM radio that speak of a coming cleansing and that believers need to embrace their ordained roles, with terms similar to horned moons and harvest moons being bandied about. Is this the genuine return of the Enlightened Society of the Weeping Moon, or just some wacko using some old nonsense they found buried in a history book?
Interesting. CJ, you want to take this one first?
Just need
I'm interested.
It's a lot of Wild West stuff.
So I'm not very familiar with Wild West, so I'm excited to see what these guys tell me.
My big thing is with the setup of it being, 1999 with the appearance or the soon-to-be appearance of the Red Star, that links it a little too heavily in my mind to, it's very easy to say, like, either, this is the Enlightened Society coming back, or, this is some weirdo who's too in tuned with everything. about and like being right about the apocalypse.
So is the Enlightened Society something to do with the apocalypse?
It's the Wild West version of Pentex without it actually being Pentex.
Oh, okay.
It's like they're Pentex adjacent. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, it didn't seem more culty, but yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the big thing I would say in case of this, I've got two angles to go with. One of it being a very powerful spirit in the area that has been long since dormant and buried. Maybe a Bane tender has been seeing to it. And it's been slowly breaking its bones. Like, I'm going to call this a corrupted Weaver spirit of some kind. Specifically some older tech. And it's one of those things that, like, as you're going through this just middle of flyover nowhere America, the spirit is getting ready to break out. It's trying. It's stretching out its influence. It's tugging on the pattern web. And all of these, doom and fire and brimstone broadcasts that you're picking up are old. Like, real fucking old. This is some televangelist or not televangelist, but the equivalent of like a televangelist from like the 70s, the 60s. People talking about the end of the world and like various conspiracies from pirate radio. Anytime somebody's ever talked into the microphone. Maybe even hearing clips from like the original airing of the War of the Worlds radio show. And as the spirit is tugging on the pattern web, this is one of its things of it's trying to incite panic of some kind. And by tugging on these webs, it's piecing together these desperate clips to start putting its message out, to start getting that influence out. Maybe it's not just doom and gloom about the apocalypse. Maybe this is something tied with panic, if not just old tech. And it's trying to start up that, get people worried, get people scared so it can feed until it can eventually break out. And it just so happens the pack is hearing these radio broadcasts as they're getting closer.
That's, damn, man. All right.
It's a little bit of like, I'm ditching a good chunk of the premise with the whole not tying it directly to Anthelios or anything in that area, but you could still make it where it's like one of the harbingers of the apocalypse. Like, this is a big Bane.
You could. And I think I'm going to do it was probably the obvious thing. Mm-hmm. While you shied from Anthelios, I'm going to have to lean into it a little and go, this is about the imbued.
Okay.
Remind me of what that is again?
Hunters.
Thank you.
Yep. And that this is just on the cusp of Anthelios rising. To where these I want to say these evangelical, shows, but they're not so much evangelical. They are, again, calling a gathering, but what it is it's a couple key figures who believe, erroneously or not, that they have been contacted, by God directly. They've been contacted by God. And God says you gotta assemble the people, and you gotta get the right people, the chosen people, the God of the nation. And what it is it's all. It's not about getting fun new jewelry. It's about, see it there. It's about collecting the people who are going to be imbued.
Okay.
They for some reason have a head start and want to gather these people together to organize and weaponize the imbued as a whole, instead of what they ultimately get are these tiny factions of, a couple, your the bowling pins. You just get the pins together, right? But they want to make a better pin. It doesn't just fall over and shatter. Which is well and good, but I think maybe the message gets skewed. Going through human hosts. So maybe that's it, right? It's about the host. It's a situation where it was a trial run. I don't know a whole lot about the imbued, but right, like originally the first try here was we were going to use human conduits, but the message is imperfect. So what I think you get is it kind of breaks them. Okay. What I'm ultimately looking for is a Children of the Corn situation.
Children of the Corn. It's been so long since I've seen that.
Right? Like, not just kids, right? But you have all these potential, the ones that they're imbued, right? But they were called together by this and through this incorrect, if you will, signal. So they're seeing, vampires and monsters and zombies even when there aren't vampires and monsters and zombies.
Yeah.
So you now have these little snippets of towns that have been taken over by these cultish hunters who think they are doing a good thing and just misguidedly fucking off everyone who isn't on their special radar list, the criteria of which is unknown to me and kind of irrelevant at that point.
But you're getting like a new Salem witch trial almost.
Kind of, but more murdery and direct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're imbued and they have powers unlike normal hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So that can sell you a cheaper townhome,
Yeah.
That's
the ending of their prompt. Oh.
Sorry, that's a Marvel Rivals thing. Don't worry about that.
Yes. Yeah. The ending of their prompt here, I cut out because I didn't want you guys. I wanted you guys to be able to be a little bit more creative with it. But it said, if the former, the Enlightened Society and the Weeping Moon or whatever, what does it mean for the overall approaching apocalypse? And do you incorporate any other signs of its coming? I cut that out so you guys could have a little bit more creativity with it, so it wasn't locked into the one direction.
Yeah,
that was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord Thom. Or Tom, Lord Thom. Let me know if I'm saying it right, please.
For saying it right?
Yeah, if I'm saying it right. All right, next idea comes from Excalibur. A Thurgis summoning ritual seemingly gets hijacked, and a spirit they weren't intending to call upon appears at the end of the ritual.
I feel like we've done one like this before. At least it sounds familiar.
Well, it's... So you failed your roll.
Oh, poor Thurge. Poor Thurge and their failed roll.
And this
what are the consequences, though?
Yeah, and this is where, I think we have a great example of, maybe, earlier with the, what was it, Winged, the one that gave us a little too much?
Winged Beast.
Yeah, with Winged Beast, he gave us just a little too much. Maybe you didn't give us just enough Excalibur.
So maybe I can ask you guys, I can try to elaborate here. What was the original ritual meant to do, and what are the consequences due to them botching this roll?
Okay, I can do something with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
MCing here, doing my job.
Good job. Okay, so the situation in question here is this is a younger Thurge, of course, who is just starting to break out.
Do their own thing. Try to get some renown.
Yeah, they're finally able to, be left home alone, if you will. They're starting to get that trust around the sept. They're being put in charge of things. I'm trying to think of that. They're of that age. I'm trying to think of a pop culture equivalent of what I'm looking for. Maybe like Wile E. Kid and Wile E. Cat from the goddamn Thundercats, right?
Okay.
So he's on his own, and they're trusting him with the thing on his own. And so he goes to summon the spirit, and the wrong spirit shows up. Well, the thing is this spirit was related to the defense of a cairn. This was one of the friendly spirits. Maybe it was a representative of the birds of the region. And a different type of bird shows up.
Okay.
And what we have is a situation where the Thurge is not experienced enough to know how to handle this. So what ends up happening is this Thurge makes a deal with this other bird spirit. Let's for shits and grins say a vulture. Who will agree to continue the duties of guarding the sept. So the Thurge won't get in trouble. Trust me, it'll be our little secret. They'll never know the difference.
Think.
Right. All I need is. And so what you have is you have a situation where this spirit is now conning this Thurge into favors, this malevolent spirit, to be clear, and is just taking advantage of this Thurge and fucking up his day and fucking up the Cairn's defenses. But also masquerading, and maybe a vulture is not a great idea then. How about like a magpie?
Magpie.
Yeah, now that I'm saying this out loud, like a magpie. So he's like impersonating the real spirit.
A mockingbird?
A mockingbird. There we go.
Ooh. On the nose there.
Yep. But, so impersonating the spirit. So it's like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you, buddy.
You got me. You summoned me. Good job.
All I need is this in return.
Favor.
Yep. And,
my favor.
Every time it keeps coming back, it's worse. It's something else. But the Thurge has to keep it quiet because he's, inexperienced enough and ashamed. And again, I go that wily cat, where they're just young enough where they're more afraid of getting in trouble.
Yep.
And like they are of the possible ramifications of their decisions.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so this whole thing becomes about what the fuck is wrong with the cairn and whether or not they can uncover our faulty Thurge. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are there these weird little totems why are we finding these weird little totems in the ball every now and then? Like, it's not directly wormish, but it's like, this isn't a spirit I know. Like, even little Blair Witch style totems.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be inherently wormish. You're right.
Yeah.
It's just the why.
Just off enough for the player characters to be, what is happening in the sept right now? Because that doesn't seem quite right.
Well, and I'd have to relook up Mockingbird, but I'm not going to do that at the moment.
Yeah.
You do something in the family. But regardless, even if it's not inherently wormish, the presence of something outside of the brood can be enough to fuck things up, right?
Yes.
It's fucking the sept.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Some of the other spirits in the area aren't as happy. Maybe some of the defenses go down. What's going on?
Right, and Gaia forbid, right? This becomes a big enough deal that it now interferes with the totem, and the totem is going, why are you snubbing members of my brood for this guy? And could end up with the totem getting offended and abandoning the cairn entirely.
Ooh.
Moot time comes around, the totem demands double the gnosis it normally would get.
Why? And everybody's like, why? What?
Right.
Okay, but why?
Okay.
Eerie. Cool thought, Excalibur. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I do have a way to take this as well, and slightly different.
All right.
I'm going to say the roll succeeded. You're summoning a spirit, it succeeds. You don't get the spirit you were expecting. In the terms of, this is a pack that's been on assignment for a while. It's been a long way from home. They've been dealing with this long mission, like it's a spirit quest or whatever. They've been deep in the Umbra. Time's gone by. They don't know how long. One of the pack, they're at a crossroads. They're in a realm that they don't know how to deal with. One of the pack is calling upon an ancestor for help, advice. Like, see, is this something that my Thurge great-great-grandfather has figured out before? Could I get information? Maybe I just need a different thought that they might have that could spark something for me. He goes to summon this ancestor, and it's his grandfather who's one of the elders of the sept that shows up. And now it becomes the question of, you were alive when we last saw you. Why are you here? I'm going to say the ancestor has no idea. And now becomes okay, is it just you were old? Or has something happened to the sept? Are they going to come back and is there a sept to find? Or is it under new management? It now goes a lot deeper.
Okay.
Yeah, very enigmatic. This next one comes from You Can Call Me Ginger.
Hey, Ginger.
The kinfolk of a sept have reported that coyotes started pestering the town/homestead, but never actually taking anything or doing any harm. The pack is sent to investigate.
So I'm going to go with a town, bigger city, not like kin town, but, these are kinfolk at the town who are noticing this. I'm I'm going to say they're noticing this because they know kind of what to look for. Like, these are kinfolk who've been clued in, stuff exists, they know of at least, they know there's werewolves. Why can't there be other things? And this is going to be the case of, I'm going to bring the Pharaoh in just a little bit. This is a 1 or 2 new Wisha getting ready to do something for Coyote. And the pack is accidentally stumbling upon, these coyotes, they don't seem to be taking anything. They're just pestering people. They're just, maybe standing in front of a car to get him to, like, slam on the brakes before running off. Little things here and there. But people are going to start talking about the town of certain things just going missing. Like, I could have sworn I left X, Y, or Z here, but I just misplaced it. Like, nobody realizes it was taken. Not quite taken of the forgotten, but, it still goes missing, but it's nothing of any consequence, it seems. Players start investigating. They start noticing bigger things are missing. This is where Taken of the Forgotten starts coming into play of, bigger, more important objects, a lot of stuff like family heirlooms almost, stuff that's been in the family for generations, stuff that's going to have a decent spiritual resonance. Ultimately, the pack is going to stumble upon, maybe not the Nuisha, maybe people connected to him, whatever. And Coyote's setting something up. Coyote's setting up a salmon-style Rube Goldberg machine. He's taking all these little things. He's got his children coming out here just taking all these different things. Nobody's going to notice it because it's Coyote. This is a great prank being set up by Coyote. Now the question is, how does he deal with people spoiling the surprise? Or do the pack, trust that, hey, this Incarna Coyote, capital C Coyote, is doing something important, doing something for the good of Gaia? Do we trust them? And we figured out some of the stuff that's going on. We figured something's going to happen. We know he's stolen X, Y, and Z, maybe even a fetish or two from the Sept. Do we spill the beans now and potentially ruin whatever's going to happen? Be it like, this is supposed to be like a big stockpile of spiritual resonance to be sacrificed to summon or empower the local Sept spirit in the event of the Black Spiral Dancer raid. Or is this going to leave the Sept vulnerable because they aren't doing a good enough job? This is Coyote teaching a lesson of, hey guys, open your eyes. And going to leave them to be taken over by a rival Sept. To, get more vigilant watchers in here. Does the pack take the chance? Or do they spill the beans and probably now have to deal with more malicious shenanigans and pranks from these local Nuisha if they can't run them off?
He's good. I don't know why I'm talking like...
Working the fair in.
I wanna double check on this. You said coyotes, not Nuisha.
I did. Yes, I did say coyotes.
Making sure, because now because CJ went that route, I feel like I need to not go that way.
Yeah.
So I think what we're looking at here is they're not coyotes. They look similar enough, or they act in a manner of which people who aren't getting too great of a look at them, right? But what it is it is a couple of former local bone gnars, perhaps hill folk specifically, who are beefing with the septic question. Perhaps they needed, they were at odds, and so when the call for backup or something came in, they asked for help and they were denied that help. And what I come to is I say former, because either their original sept has fallen or they themselves have fallen. Both could be true, but these are now Black Spiral Dancers who used to be Bone Gnars, who are doing this to draw out key members of the friendly sept in question. This is a simple revenge plot, but again, they're using that to misdirect. And then ideally, if we can get some key characters and maybe even disappear them. Oops, he come with me, and maybe they come back as one of us, and we can really coordinate some nasty shit to do in the name of revenge. and this lovely Gaian sept that your players are in.
Nice.
I could see that being a lot of fun to spiral out for a while.
Right. So I see you, because I see which. Oh. And then plus you could use the misdirect and even misdirect to Nuisha if you're so inclined. But it's not that.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's just a weird kinfolk thing. It's not that either. This is a specific targeted, yeah.
And this is something that could be going on for a while.
Right. I think we got time for one more tonight.
I think so.
Right.
We got a lot of them.
We do.
We do. We have tons more, so we definitely have several more, at least 2 more in the tank here. But one from Lars to finish us out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I liked this one, so I'm going to choose this one without telling you guys or giving you guys the option like I did the last.
I was going to say, if you don't tell us, we can't do anything about it.
But when I read this, the first thing that popped into my mind was there once was an old lady who swallowed a fly. Don't know why she swallowed a fly. Then she swallowed a spider, and then a bird that,
It's
wiggled and
it's Pac-Man.
tiggled and, yeah. Then she swallowed a cat. Well, fancy that. She swallowed a cat. Anyways, that's the first thing that popped into my head when I read this one. That's why I want to read it to you guys. Love one of my old favorite stories. Anyways. A member of the pack is on bond duty and notices a dead bird just outside the bond. The next day, while a different pack member is on bond duty, they spot a dead cat where the dead bird was yesterday. On the third day, they notice a dead human where the dead cat had been. Suddenly, something starts wriggling around inside of the cadaver's stomach.
So was that...
That's the prompt.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's why the old lady who swallowed a fly popped into my head. Figured it'd be a fun one to end the episode on.
Fair enough.
Oh man, when's this gonna air? Because I have an idea, but I'm like, I don't want to spoil a thing. Because I was gonna use some inspiration from you there, Porter. From the game.
I was gonna say, are you your mind going lady in red type places?
No, it's going centipede places.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, but those have been used
See.
before, so you can already, right?
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Just we hadn't seen what they did before, but yeah. Okay.
Huh.
And it's still not spoiling, but yeah. I like the Bane Tender aspect a little too much in this case, but I'm going to avoid it to an extent. And this is going to be the case of something manifesting that probably shouldn't be able to manifest on its own. Be it through something like a wormhole, a ritual, somebody summoning it. Who knows? Maybe this is part of that summoning gone wrong, where they try summoning something, but nothing shows up. They just summon this thing, who knows where. And I'm going to say this is a fairly powerful spirit. I'm going to call it a wild spirit of some kind. I'm going to call it something akin to the Nameless.
Really?
But the problem, akin to, not necessarily, I'm going to use some of the idea of, like, this is a spirit that doesn't have a form. It's been summoned to the realm, and because of it not having this physical form, it's not able to interact in the right way. It can't understand the world around it. This is a powerful spirit that is weakened. It's hurting because it's not supposed to be in the realm, because it's not a creature of the physical world. This is supposed to be a creature of pure concept. It is scared, and it's trying to figure out a way to protect itself or to be able to do something about its situation. So it's trying to possess the first creature it comes across. This being that mouse, or that, what was it, a rat?
Yes, I believe it was a rat, a bird, then a human.
Okay. But yeah, it possessed this rat, and while it was able to exist for a little while, the rat died I'm going to call it horrible, messy, cancerous death because it's wild energy gone wild. It's growth. It's everything. This rat died in a bad way. Eventually the cat comes along, but the spirit is trapped, not able to escape, because it knows as soon as it leaves this body, it's in pain, it's going to be suffering, it's not going to be able to understand anything. And it's just slowly been moving up the chain, trying to find a body where it can exist, something resonate enough with itself. I'm going to call it just a spirit of change, just purely change. And its ultimate goal is to eventually possess one of the pack that show up to find it, because Garu are creatures of change. They shift forms, they go back and forth all the time. It doesn't know its goal is this, but it knows as soon as it gets a hold of something like this, great, I can go home. As it wants to step sideways. It wants to go back to the spirit world and then just get out of it, because it's not supposed to be here. Everything is too real, everything is too stagnant, everything is too defined. And I can imagine as it's moving up these bodies, the area around it is getting more and more twisted and wild overgrowth. As it's starting to be able to actually interact more now that it's got a body, it just burns out the body too fast.
A wizard did it.
Could be.
No, and really,
A wizard?
a mage did it.
Okay.
One who... See, check this. This is I don't know a lot about mage, right? This is a new mage who's just discovered his powers, accidentally did this, didn't know what they did. But what they did was they resurrected the spirits of a local pet cemetery.
Okay.
Now, seeking revenge, but seeking life again. And they have been able to slowly possess. This is how this is happening. This continual... and so what we're going to get here is they're going to keep trying until something fucking works. It's almost like a meat puppet forcing its way into a new host at this point, right?
Started with something small and more malleable, and it's trying to work its way up to something a little bit more.
Right. And again, it's all about this mage who has no idea what he's doing. It's not on purpose and I don't know the consequences. It's that I'm not aware that I'm doing this at all. He just buried Fido, right? And this was what happened. When he buried Fido, he was sad and distraught, and he doesn't understand his powers or how to control them or that he has them. And so now there's a series of, and they're not really meat puppets, but it's akin to this, right? Of these animal spirits possessing whatever they can get their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what you're going to end up seeing, and you didn't yet because you've only come against the bodies because it's not sustainable, right? But you're going to come across people, and Lars is going to love this, running the streets on all fours, stark raving naked, barking at shit.
Howling at the moon.
Yes. You know, you're going to have the cat that somehow possesses an elephant in the zoo. And just starts trampling shit and trying to climb on shit. And like, meow!
Rubbing its trunk up against the tree, marking its territory.
Shitting in boxes.
You can even have some of the cleaned up messes from the Garu starting to come back.
Right? You could, for certain. You know, I even, check this out, what about the Petey the Parakeet, who possesses... I don't know, Mrs. Wynn's second grade class. I don't know why the whole class. But, you know, you get people who are trying to fly and just jumping off buildings and shit because the bird possessed them. And so, like, this isn't the main threat, of course, but this is a side effect of this threat. So you make this a whole chronicle-long thing of this weird, unconscionable shit. You know, there's a finite amount of these spirits, okay? There's going to be like 20 of them, whatever. You just get to the bottom of it, right? Maybe not even that many. But yeah, it's going to be a series of weird, random, crazy shit, all caused by this kid who has no idea the power he's possessed.
Hell, could make it could make it a real fucking young kid, because now you also get that dilemma potentially of, do we ice this kid?
I mean, yes. But yes, exactly.
Yeah. Like, little Timmy just buried his pet dog for the first time.
Right, and that was the inciting incident, right? Fucking
high
Patches.
emotions are high. Poor Patches is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Kid doesn't know what he did. Kid doesn't know he's done this. Do we kill him, really? Or does somebody come up with the idea of, can we make this work for us, potentially, if he's not just death magic?
Again, I don't know a whole lot about Mage, but this is a werewolf game, so you can just do whatever you want. But yeah, and again, I think that's right up Lars's alley, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me he's not going to love that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I also thought it was, like, a hilarious, like, premise for an idea that you guys would come up with, like, cool things for.
Hey. I could also see just, like, a fun little twist, especially if it's, like, resurrecting the spirits in that cemetery, in that little pet cemetery. At least one spirit isn't an animal. It's some serial killer's victim.
Oh, that'd be neat. That's like an extra, right? That's,
yep.
In fact, that's one that, like, you didn't know about.
Throwing
this.
you off the scent.
Yeah, this shows up later.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't consider that. We thought this was just a delightful, weird thing where the dude got possessed by an iguana spirit and is just trying to climb the wall and, like, flick his tongue like an asshole,
Mm-hmm.
And now you run into the vortex of a serial killer victim. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Reveal a serial killer.
Hey, or a mafia rivals possessed the mayor.
Yeah.
Like, instead of being buried with the fishes, he was buried with Fido.
Yeah. Could be a whole little, like, a subplot in a chronicle there, or the main plot going on.
I'm just into that initial section where the animals are just, what fucking wackiness is happening? Like, what jackassery is this? You look around and,
Yeah, it's a good little, like, this is a fun chronicle. Yeah. This is weird. This is messed up, but this is fun.
Yeah.
This is funny. This is, like, hilarious. And then remind people, oh, wait, this is the World of Darkness stuff's fucked up.
Oh, wait, it's going to get dark.
Like, it's got the parrot that keeps possessing people to try to fly.
This is what I'm lying again. It makes all the sense in the world. It was just a stupid bird. It didn't know any better. It just knows I can get into this thing and fucking be alive again, kind of.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? Do you go in the Umbra and kill the spirit, or find it, or convince it to leave?
You got options about you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all the while, you don't know why, because that's for later down the chronicle.
Hey, if you got to convince them, it makes Beast Speech actually really useful for a Galliard.
Oh, it does. Like, for the first time ever.
So, here you have, let's get the parrot possessing a person. You find out about this. You try talking to him, and, well, yeah, it might be able to mimic. Beast Speech lets you understand this person. Now,
oh, God, you're trying to talk about the ledge, right? He's up on the roof. Right? You're like, Jake. It's kinfolk I know, Jake. It's not worth it, Jake. What's wrong? Pretty bird.
They, like,
pretty bird. He just stares at you, wide-eyed. Pretty bird. And starts flapping his arms and runs off the fucking hedge.
Oh, that's fucking great.
And I think with that's going to be the one, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we peaked this episode.
Yep, that is the time we have for today in this weird episode as it was, but a good time. Em, thank you for emceeing.
Yeah. Anytime.
I mean, thank you both for being here, but that's part of the deal. We'll be back next week with the next part of the actual play, which is going to be pretty rad.
Yep.
I'm not sure which one that's going to be, but we know the story, so it's going to be pretty rad.
That's going to be great.
I think that chapter's into, like, June.
It's a pretty long one.
Yeah,
essentially.
Chapter 4 goes on a while, guys. It's all right.
Yep.
You're still in, guaranteed.
It's potentially into June, or it's a March.
So there you go.
Nice.
It's all going to be all right. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to see us next week for the next part of the actual play, and then the week after that, we'll bring you something new, some fun. Everybody, hey, be good to each other, take care of each other. Remember, we're all in this together. And again, on behalf of everyone here at the studio, we want to say thank you so much for your continued support. Take care. We'll see you next time. Beat or ban? That son of a bitch.